Shalom, good morning.
Shalom, Boker Tov.
Boker
Shalom,
Tov.
good morning, Boker Tov.
Our camera's not working, but we're gonna move forward anyway. So we're looking or finishing Parshah Shemini. Parshah Shemini, that's in Vayikra chapter 11. That's Leviticus chapter 11. That's what we're looking at today. So we read on Wednesday about the death of Nadab and Abihu, and now we are reading in chapter 11, and it is dealing with the laws of what we can eat and what we can't eat. So let's say the blessing and we'll begin.
Baruch Yahweh Hamborah,
Baruch Yahweh
Baruch Yahweh
Hamborah
Baruch
Leolam
Leolam
Baed. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikoch hamim, ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch atah Yahweh, נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. All right. So again, Vayikra chapter 11, Leviticus chapter 11.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying to them, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, These are the living creatures which you do eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatever has a split hoof, completely divided, chewing the cud among the beasts that you do eat. Only these you do not eat among those that chew the cud or those that have a split hoof. The camel, because it chews the cud but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the rabbit, because it chews the cud but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the hare, because it chews the cud but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the pig, though it has a split hoof, completely divided, yet does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. Their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you do not touch. They are unclean to you.
Okay. Let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew. So, she read from 1 to 8. Let's hear that in the Hebrew. Here we go.
וידבר אדוני אל משה ואל אהרון לאמור עליהם. דברו אל בני ישראל לאמור. זאת החיה אשר תאכלו מכל הבהמה אשר על הארץ. כל מפרסת פרסה ושוסעת שסע פרסות, מעלת גרה בבהמה, אותה תאכלו. אך את זה לא תאכלו ממעלי הגרה וממפריסי הפרסה. את הגמל, כי מעלה גרה הוא, ופרסה איננו מפריס, טמא הוא לכם. ואת השפן, כי מעלה גרה הוא, ופרסה לא יפריס, טמא הוא לכם. ואת הארנבת, כי מעלת גרה היא ופרסה לא הפריסה, טמאה היא לכם. ואת החזיר, כי מפריס פרסה הוא, ושוסע שסע פרסה, והוא גרה לא ייגר, טמא הוא לכם. מבשרם לא תאכלו, ובנבלתם לא תיגעו, טמאים הם לכם.
Okay. And verse 9. Here we go. These you do eat of all that are in the waters. Any one that has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, or in the rivers, that you do eat. But all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, all that move in the waters, or any living creature which is in the waters, they are an abomination to you. They are an abomination to you. Of their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you abominate. All that do not have fins or scales in the water is an abomination to you. Let's compare it to verse 12. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
את זה תאכלו מכל אשר במים, כל אשר לא סנפיר וקשקשת במים, בימים ובנחלים, אותם תאכלו. וכל אשר אין לו סנפיר וקשקשת בימים ובנחלים, מכל שרת המים ומכל נפש החיה אשר במים, שקט הם לכם. ושקט יהיו לכם, מבשרם לא תאכלו, ואת נבלתם תשקצו. כל אשר אין לו סנפיר וקשקשת במים, שקט הוא לכם.
Okay. And verse 13.
And this you do abominate among the birds. They are not eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle and the vulture and the black vulture and the hawk and the falcon after its kind, every raven after its kind, and the ostrich and the night hawk and the seagull and the hawk after its kind, and the little owl and the fisher owl and the great owl and the white owl and the pelican and the carrion vulture and the stork, the heron after its kind, and the hoopie and the bat.
So, let's hear to verse 19 in the Hebrew. Well, yeah.
ואת אלה תשקצו מן העוף, לא יאכלו שקט הם. את הנשר ואת הפרס ואת האוזנייה, ואת הדאה ואת האיה למינח, את כל עורב למינו, ואת בת היענה ואת התחמץ ואת השחף, ואת הנץ למינהו, ואת הכוס ואת השלח ואת הינשוף, ואת התנשמת ואת הקעת ואת הרחם, ואת החסידה הענפה למינח, ואת הדוכיפת ואת העטלת.
Okay. So that was to verse 19. Just to kind of recap. So he went over the animals that are clean are the ones that have a split hoof and chew the cud. And then for the fish, they have to have fins and scales. And then he listed the birds, right? The fowl that are not clean. Okay, so verse 20. And all flying insects that creep on all fours is an abomination to you. Only these you do eat of every flying insect that creeps on all fours, those which have jointed legs above their feet, with which to leap on the earth. These of them you do eat, the locust after its kind, and the destroying locust after its kind, and the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. But all other flying insects which have 4 feet is an abomination to you. And by these you are made unclean. Anyone touching the carcass of any of them is unclean until evening. And anyone picking up part of the carcass of any of them has to wash his garments and shall be unclean until evening. Okay, so I read to verse 25. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
כל שרץ העוף ההולך על 4, שקט הוא לכם. אך את זה תאכלו מכל שרץ העוף ההולך על 4, אשר לא חרעיים ממעל לרגליו, לנטר בהן על הארץ. את אלה מהם תאכלו, את הארבה למינו, ואת הסולעם למינהו, ואת החרגול למינהו, ואת החגב למינהו, וכל שרץ העוף, אשר לו 4 רגליים, שקט הוא לכם. ולאלה תטמאו, כל הנוגע בנבלתם, יטמע עד הערב. וכל הנושא מנבלתם, יכבס בגדיו, וטמא עד הערב.
I read the verse 25. Let's continue with verse 26.
Every beast that has a split hoof, not completely divided, or does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Anyone who touches the carcass is unclean, and whatever goes on its paws, among all the creatures that go on all fours, those are unclean to you. Anyone who touches their carcass is unclean until evening, and he who picks up their carcass has to wash his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. They are unclean to you. And these are unclean to you among the creeping creatures that creep on the earth, the mole, and the mouse, and the tortoise after its kind, and the gecko, and the land crocodile, and the sand reptile, and the sand lizard, and the chameleon. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Anyone who touches them when they are dead become unclean until evening.
Okay, let's hear the 31 in the Hebrew.
לכל הבהמה אשר היא מפרסת פרסה, ושסע איננה שוסעת, וגרה איננה מעלה, טמאים הם לכם. כל הנוגע בהם יטמא. וכל הולך על כפיו, וכל החיה ההולכת על 4, טמאים הם לכם. כל הנוגע בנבלתם, יטמע עד הערב. והנושא את נבלתם, יכבס בגדיו, וטמא עד הערב. טמאים המה לכם. וזה לכם הטמא בשרץ השורץ על הארץ, החולת והעכבר, והצב למיניהו, והענקה והכוח והלטאה, והחומת והתנשמת. אלה הטמאים לכם בכל השרת. כל הנוגע בהם במותם, יטמע עד הערב.
Okay, verse 32. And whatever any of them in its dead state falls upon becomes unclean, whether it is any wooden object or garment or skin or sack, any object in which work is done, it is put in water, and it shall be unclean until evening, then it shall be clean. Any earthen vessel into which any of them falls, whatever is in it becomes unclean, and you break it. Any of the food which might be eaten, on which water comes, becomes unclean, and any drink which might be drunk from it becomes unclean. And on whatever any of their carcass falls becomes unclean. In oven or cooking range, it is broken down. They are unclean and are unclean to you. Okay. But a fountain or a well, a collection of water is clean, but whatever touches their carcass is unclean. Okay. I read the 36. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
וכל אשר ייפול עליו מהם במותם יטמע, מכל כלי עץ או בגד או עור או שק, כל כלי אשר יעשה מלאכה בהם, במים יובא, וטמא עד הערב, וטהר. וכל כלי חרס אשר ייפול מהם אל תוכו, כל אשר בתוכו יטמע, ואותו תשבורו. מכל האוכל אשר יאכל, אשר יבוא עליו מים יטמע, וכל משקה אשר ישתה, בכל כלי יטמע, וכל אשר ייפול מנבלתם עליו יטמע, תנור וחיריים יוטט, טמאים הם, וטמאים יהיו לכם. אך מעיין ובור מקווה מים יהיה טהור, ונוגע בנבלתם יטמע.
Okay. And 37.
And when any of their carcass falls on any planting seed, which is to be sown, it is clean. But when any water is put on the seed, and any part of any such carcass falls on it, it is unclean to you. And when any of the beasts which are yours for food dies, he who touches its carcass becomes unclean until evening. And he who eats of its carcass has to be washed his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. And he who picks up its carcass has to wash his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. And every creeping creature that creeps on the earth is an abomination. It is not eaten. Whatever crawls on its stomach, and whatever goes on all fours, and whatever has many feet among all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, these you do not eat, for they are an abomination.
Okay, we're going to hear to verse 42 in the Hebrew.
וכי יפול מנבלתם על כל זרע זרוע אשר יזרע, טהור הוא. וכי יותן מים על הזרע, ונפל מנבלתם עליו, טמא הוא לכם. וכי ימות מן הבהמה אשר היא לכם לאוכלה, הנוגע בנבלתך, יטמע עד הערב. והאוכל מנבלתך, יכבס בגדיו, וטמא עד הערב. והנוצא את נבלתך, יכבס בגדיו, וטמא עד הערב. וכל השרת השורץ על הארץ, שקט הוא, לא יאכל. כל הולך על גחון, וכל הולך על ארבע, עד כל מרבה רגליים, לכל השרת השורץ על הארץ, לא תאכלום, כי שקט הם.
Okay. Verse 43. Do not make yourselves abominable with any creeping creature that creeps, and do not make yourselves unclean with any that. Do not make yourselves unclean with them, lest you be defiled by them. For I am Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall set yourselves apart, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. And do not defile yourselves with any creeping creature that creeps on the earth. For I am Yahweh who is bringing you up out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your Elohim, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. This is the Torah of the beast and the birds and every living creature that moves in the waters, and of every creature that creeps on the earth, to make a distinction between the unclean and the clean, between the living creature that is eaten and the living creature that is not eaten. So I read to the last verse, 47. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרת השורט, ולא תטמאו בהם, ונטמאתם בם. כי אני אדוני אלוהיכם, והתקדישתם והייתם קדושים, כי קדוש אני. ולא תטמאו את נפשותיכם בכל השרת הרומס על הארץ. כי אני אדוני המעלה אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, והייתם קדושים, כי קדוש אני. זאת תורת הבהמה והעוף, וכל נפש החיה הרומסת במים, ולכל נפש השורצת על הארץ, להבדיל בין הטמא ובין הטהור, ובין החיה הנאכלת, ובין החיה אשר לא תאכל.
Okay. And that is the end of chapter 11, the end of Torah Parshah Shemini. We can talk a little bit about what we read.
Well, just the fact that the creator of the heavens and the earth and all that exists had determined what type of animals he had created specifically for the men to eat, and those that are just here on the earth to roam the earth and to serve a purpose here on the earth, but not to be eaten by the human beings. And he was very specific as far as fish and birds and roaming animals, insects and all kinds of animals that we are not supposed to touch. And those that are good for us, he told us, you can eat those. So I don't know, just a plain, I believe it's just plain misunderstanding sometimes and lack of knowledge that makes human beings eat whatever is not good for our bodies. And then we are suffering from illnesses that are, rampant. And no wonder you see hospitals full, when people are eating all kinds of things and they do not mind what the creator of the universe has said not to even touch.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of wanted also to point out, going along with what you're saying, is the main reason why we should keep what he says, observe what he says, and only eat what he says we should eat, and stay away from the things that he shouldn't eat. The main reason is simply because he told us to. It's simply Yahweh said not to eat it, so don't eat it. It's obedience, just straightforward. So, however, just to kind of show how great Yahweh is and how in his wisdom, we're going to just mention a couple of things for the reasons why we should do what he says, right? Just to show how great his design is. So clean animals, just a quick kind of highlight, clean animals are built a certain way that when they are slaughtered, the blood flows out easier, and they digest their food in a different way, which is better for us. So those are two main things. So they have an artery that when they are slaughtered, that artery makes the killing more humane. It's quicker. They lose consciousness quicker. And that means that there are less toxins in the blood, right? Whereas an animal that suffers a long time to die, they're going to have adrenaline and everything else in the blood that is toxic. So and then let me show you guys. I'm looking at Leviticus 3:17. 3:17, the importance of why we don't want blood. We don't want to eat the animal's blood, and we want all the blood to be drained when the animal is slaughtered. Is because the blood transports bodily waste. So all the waste of the animal is being transported by the blood, and also toxins and infections can be in the blood. So you don't want to eat it. And in Leviticus 3:17, he says, it's an everlasting law throughout your generations and all your dwellings. You do not eat any fat or any blood. Okay, and then along with that is also, again, Deuteronomy 12:23. Says, only be firm not to eat the blood, for the blood is the life. Do not eat the life with the meat. Okay, and I read in another version, it says, only be strong not to eat the blood. So this same verse, that's Deuteronomy or Devarim 12:23. Okay, also, there were some pagan cultures that used the blood in rituals, and so there's a spiritual danger to it also, and they believed it led to being possessed, being to possession. So just stay away from the blood. Also, the meat will last longer if it doesn't have the blood. Okay, and in unclean animals, it has, or even actually in all the animals, if the blood is not drained, it has been shown that the blood congeals and it cannot be boiled out. So it mentions about not eating animals that have died of natural causes. Don't eat animals that were not like slaughtered and drained, that they just died either of natural causes or they died like of an accident or something like that. You cannot eat that meat because the blood congeals and it cannot be boiled out, and then you'll have that meat. So we talked about how they're built to be, drained through that artery that the clean animals have, and also they're digested, so they're built in a way that they digest their food better, which protects us from infection. Even the hoof, how they have a split hoof, even that protects from infection because they're not picking up mud and dirt onto the animal, which means that there's fewer chance of an infection. And the diet of clean animals means that they are less prone to disease. They have fewer parasites, and they can break down poisons, toxins. They can break them down better because they have a different digestive system than the unclean animals. So basically, we're saying, don't follow what Yahweh says, right? Don't eat the unclean animals because he said to. There's the health component of it, but there's also the association. Well, the unclean animals, there's an association to pagan worship. So, for example, the pig there was an association or connection between the pig and the underworld deities. So they would eat pig, or they would sacrifice pig in honor of underworld deities, which are basically demons, right? So you see when Yeshua casts out the demons, they ask if they can go into the pig. So there's this connection between them. So there's a spiritual reason for it too. And then if we look in Acts 10:28, so some people think that the vision that they had about the net coming down with all the unclean animals and him telling rise and kill and eat, they think that means literally about food, but he explains exactly what it means. If you look in Acts 10:28, he says, but at the bottom it says, but Elohim has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. He's not talking anything about animals, but about the different races and different people, nationalities, that I should not call any man unclean, right? And he says it again in verse 34. Opening his mouth, Kepha said, truly I see that Elohim shows no partiality, but in every nation, he who fears him and works righteousness is accepted by him. So he gives the interpretation to what he saw, has nothing to do with
eating whatever you want.
Right.
And also there is another part which is, to me, the most important, because we live for Yahweh, we eat for Yahweh, we breathe for Yahweh. And on verse 45 it says, for I am Yahweh who is bringing you up out of the land of Mizraim to be your Elohim, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. So that's one of the main points. We are separated unto him. You know, we are serving him here on earth. We represent him as ambassadors on this earth. We are the salt of this earth. We are the light of this earth for him, and we are not supposed to be defiled with any unclean stuff.
Right. Yeah, just to kind of point out, so the clean and unclean food is not a salvation issue, but it is a righteousness issue, right? How you were saying about we are to be set apart because our Father Yahweh is set apart.
Amen.
And if you see the Talmudim, the followers of Yeshua, the new people that came to know about Yeshua, they were commanded 3 things, right? To refrain from idolatry, to refrain from adultery, and to refrain from unclean food. So they give them 3 categories that had to do with righteousness, right? So,
but it was only in the meantime until they will become accustomed to whatever,
right,
they were so foreign about, because most of the cultures of the world, and like you mentioned, all the races, they used to eat whatever, right? It was to the people of Israel that Yahweh gave those laws, because we are set apart, right?
Mhm.
And all the ones that are coming, they need to be, accustomed to it. They need to be taught about those laws that are so important. But when you come and you had been brought all your life eating something, it's very difficult for you to understand. Like we were born into Catholicism, and then we were not distinguished, or no one taught us about those wonderful laws that our Creator had set for us. And we were eating whatever. Even people in some parts of Mexico, they eat the blood, and they put all kinds of condiments and foods in it, and they eat it. And we didn't know it was awful doing that, but we were naive, and we just didn't know what Yahweh had said until we came to the faith system of Christianity, that it teaches you a tiny bit how to read, not just the Old Testament, I mean the New Testament, but also the Old Testament, what is called the Old Testament. And then on the faith system that is called Messianic or Messianic is when you learn to read the Brit Hadashah, and as well as the Old Covenant. And then is when you open your eyes and you see the deception. Oh my goodness, we've been doing wrong all this time, So Baruch Atah Yahweh, that He gives us life through His word, and we learn and we do.
Amen. So if Rico Cortez has a study on a lot more detail about the scientific part of the clean animals versus the unclean animals. So you can visit his page if you want more details about that. I just wanted to kind of finish with a comment about Yeshua when he came, right? He came to restore us to Yahweh, right? Because we were divorced from him. So he came to restore us to the Father. He didn't come to say like, okay, now you can eat bacon, and you know what I mean? Like now you can have a ham sandwich. That's not what it's about, right? That's not what he came to do. So these regulations, these rules, these guidelines, they continue being valid. and they are good for us. They are for our well-being, not because we have to limit ourselves or anything like that, but they're for us to have a better life and a longer life, a healthier life.
Amen.
We can say the blessing to close.
Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Yahweh, noten Torah. Amen. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Be the
Shalom,
light
shalom.
and the salt of this earth.